let's start off with Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik being the top of the list, Joe. And one of the guys that it could be a Heisman finalist here at the end of the year. He comes at number one on our list.
Very plainly, Cade Klubnik is, I would argue, has the highest potential out of any quarterback in the country this upcoming year. I really have a lot of faith that he's going to go on to be the first overall pick in the upcoming draft. Woo. And if anyone wants to, shake their head at me and go, oh, God, what's he talking about? If I would implore anybody on the end of the 2024 NFL draft, I'll pull up the tweet. I tweeted that Cam Ward would be the first overall pick in this upcoming
I remember
draft.
this.
I have stood on this, and I think that Cade Klubnik has the same recipe for what Cam Ward had. Very different circumstances, but showing a year-by-year progression and improvement and having the tools to really take over. People forget that this isn't just a good passer. This is a great athlete. He ran for 463 yards last year. He had 3,600 passing yards, over 40 total touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. Their receiving room is only going to improve this upcoming season.
Yeah.
A third year with Garrett Riley. If the defense isn't all the way there to playing up to the offense's level, Blake, I still think that Cade Klubnik can carry them pretty far.
Let me throw this at you because I agree on everything that you said. He's got how do I want to say this? I don't want to say that people don't think that he's an athlete, but he sneaks up on you with his speed, right? You see him running away from safeties and DBs sometimes, and you're like, damn, man, this kid can move a little bit. He made even in the Texas game, let's go there, against the number one passing yards allowed defense in the country, he lit them up. That receiving core got better as the year went on, and we'll talk about them in spring. Joe, it's a big highlight of what they're talking about. That room, they think that they have knocked that out of the park there, and guys going into year 2, bringing in a transfer, they think that their room there is fantastic. Here's another thing that I want to add to that, and I kind of didn't realize this a lot until I started really looking at them during spring. Joe, they have 4 seniors along their offensive line. The other is a junior, a redshirted junior, so technically a senior. But 4 of the 5 are seniors. 3 out of the 5 are graduate seniors. So guys that have been here for 5 and one that's been here for 6 years. Here's the thing with Clubnik that I would say that I think would hold him back to play a little devil's advocate here. Joey, 63% completion percentage. There were some games and situations where, okay, not on him completely, he's got to be better at taking some of the stuff that the defense gives him. If he's going to take that next step, which, by the way, I do think he takes that next step.
Yeah.
He's got to take those easy throws, right? He's got to take those easy throws and get the yardage and when the play is broken down. Now, I do think that for him, we kind of, going into the season after the Georgia game, a lot of people wrote him off, right? Like, man, same old Clemson. They got better every week. He got better every week. Joe, he is the catalyst of that team, not just the offense, the team. Of course he is. He's the quarterback. Joe, I agree with you, actually. Unless Arch Manning comes out, I do think that he could be definitely in talks of being the number 1 overall guy.
And I don't think Arch is coming out from
I don't
my understanding. I think he's going to probably stay 2 to 3
Manning's always stay until they're seniors. Yeah. They don't need the money.
Yeah.
Here's the truth on him, though. The one thing that I got to see from him is making some better decisions under pressure. Everybody's got to do it. He needs to pick up that completion percentage, but at the end of the year, look, that Texas game was his best game he's ever had in his life, in my humble opinion. If that is the Cade Klubnik that I get, then, Joe, I don't know if there's a better quarterback, not just in the ACC. I think you have to have the discussion of, are there a lot of quarterbacks better than him in college football?
Right, that's my whole point. And I think when we look at this just entire quarterback group for this upcoming year, we don't have any fully baked cakes. We don't have any done recipes. Like we've got guys that are all 3/4 of the way there. This isn't like the Michael Penix, Bo Nix year, and where we are. Well, and we didn't. Most people didn't even know at the beginning of the year though that Jane Daniels was going to be as good as he was, and same thing for JJ McCarthy.
Listen to Ruffino and Joe show.
Okay,
we
get your point. But that's like an example of a year, and there's plenty of years over the past 10, 15, 20 years where we kind of have an understanding of who the premier guy is going to be.
Yes.
And there's a lot of room for growth and improvement. So I'm going off of these guys. If you guys are paying attention to these lists that we're projecting, I'm going with the players who have shown me ridiculous highs and have the potential to continue to play into it and to continue to improve. The biggest thing for me that I felt held them back at times, and I know his completion percentage wasn't great, is he had a young receiving core. And the young receiving core was getting better every single week. And at the end of the season, it was one of the most underrated receiving rooms in the country. And I think Cade Klubnik, as he starts to be more confident and poised in his own abilities, they take that next step. He takes that next step. He checks every box that we always talk about and we look for a kid to go on and win the Heisman and to be a top 10 pick.
Here's a question I have again when we talk about, because we do kind of talk about them going into the season a little bit on these rankings. Who's going to win that running back slot? Who do they have somebody? I mean, Joe, listen, what was their problem? What was their problem? I mean, on both lines of scrimmage, they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't run the football in key games.
Good point.
Phil got hurt, and you tried to put it all on his shoulders, and it's why the completion percentage did come down. Okay, because you're throwing the ball all over the place. Who wins that? He can't do it on his own. You need that success there. But here's the thing for me, Joe. Remember 2 years ago, well, technically it'll be 3 years ago. Remember that Florida State game? And they were about to win it there at the end, and he made one of the worst boneheaded decisions. We came here like, what is he doing? Why did he throw that? Why not give the ball to Phil Maffa? He turns around, and Joey, he had 6 interceptions and 40-plus touchdowns. That is
ratio.
That is an insane ratio. By the way, he had 2 fumbles. So even if you want to go 40-8 or 41-8, that's still absolutely insane ratio. Okay, you're right. Look, it's going to be interesting to see what Clemson does here, but I do think that he's one of the best quarterbacks just in the entire country. At number, and he clearly for us is number 1.